But now he had a chart-topping music career spanning 4 decades, after which he became a Doctor of Astrophysics and Chancellor of Liverpool John Moores University. Now, just to keep busy, he's leading a campaign to alter government policy on the countryside. Ladies and gentlemen, the passionate Brian May. You're very welcome. I said as I came round backstage and saw you there, the only man I recognised from behind, Brian. You know,
doesn't recognise me from the front. You know.
No, this is some campaign. It's set everybody thinking, wondering which is right and which isn't right. The government plans a cull of badgers because they suggest that badgers carry bovine TB and are infecting herds of cattle, and the cost of culling cattle is going to be astronomical. I'll come on to the DEFRA comment in a minute. But just give us your take on this, Brian. You obviously don't agree that badgers should be culled.
No, I definitely don't. I think my first job is to make people realise what actually is happening, and that's 2 pilot culls are actually going ahead now. Miss Spellman just announced, and basically they will kill thousands of badgers in 2 pilot areas, one in Gloucestershire, one in Somerset. And the idea is that they think they can control bovine TB, which is a nasty disease. We all want to control it. It's not a good thing to have around, either in cows or in badgers.
Do you dispute that badgers carry bovine TB, then?
Both populations carry the disease. The cows obviously infected the badgers in the beginning because it's a disease which is endemic to cows throughout the world. So that basically farming has infected a population of badgers. The badgers then can infect back, you know, so there's an interplay. The 2 populations are linked, that's undeniable. But the thing is, what do you do to control the disease? And I have to tell you, not many people know the history. I mean, 11,000 badgers were killed in an experiment called the RBCT a few years ago. And the conclusion of those scientists who conducted that experiment was that culling badgers can make no meaningful contribution to the control of bovine TB in cattle. And that's very unequivocal. And all scientific advisors that you would... Every independent scientific advisor in this country would now say that culling is not the answer. Nevertheless, the government are going forward.
And are they doing this, are you suggesting, therefore, just to be shown to be doing something to pacify farmers? Or can you tell you what DEFRA say before we go on? They say, as a DEFRA spokesperson said to us, because we asked for a quote, bovine TB is a devastating disease that will cost £1 billion over the next 10 years if we take no further action. Our culling pilots are part of a complete package of measures that will help us bring the disease under control and ultimately eradicate it. So you would dispute that?
I would dispute a lot of that, basically. It is a package. They put together some kind of package, but really what they should be doing is pouring all our resources into vaccination. They should be vaccinating badgers and they should be vaccinating cows as well. There are problems in both, actually, but that's the logical end.
You can vaccinate a cow, it's in a shed?
Yeah, you can find a cow and you can stick a needle in it quite easily. The problem is that the EU regulations at the moment don't let us do that, for various political reasons. There's a nice badger on the screen.
Lovely.
They are just superb animals. I have to say, badgers have been in this country longer than we have. They've been here for literally millions of years, minding their own business in their family.
But you know, I have to put the devil's advocate aside. Just because they're cuddly doesn't mean they're staying.
It's not a question of being cuddly. I think there's a sort of anthropocentrism issue here, you know. We think that we're the only species on the planet that matters, which is obviously self-evidently not true. You know, we are animals, and we are obviously quite important, but the rest of the animals are important too. They're all at the pinnacle of their creation sequence, you know, and I don't think we have the right. I feel strongly we don't have the right to treat animals the way we do.
What do you think, then, in order to control bovine TB, because it's going to cost us £1 billion, they say, over the next 10 years, how do you suggest it's tackled, then?
Well,
realistically?
Vaccination, in a word. That's what the Badger Trust would tell you. And that's actually what even the DEFRA scientists will tell you. The only long-term cure for this disease is vaccination.
Are you crying in the wilderness, Sir Brian? Is there something that you think you can achieve here, and you can you stop it now, or is it too late? I
think it will be very hard, but of course, you remember the forest thing, you know? Caroline Spellman stood up and said, we're going to sell off Britain's forests. Now, there was a huge outcry. There was a big petition on 38 degrees. And she had to withdraw.
So what do you want people to do?
I would love people to get up and get as angry as you did about selling off the forest. What is the use of preserving our forests if there's no wildlife left in them?
Right, you've had the details. If you want to find out more about Brian's campaign, details are on our website, idv.com/Alan Titchmarsh. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian May.
Do something. Please do something. Please help us. Please help us.
Change of mood, because in a moment, Brian will be revealing his TV guilty pleasure. But first, you've forgotten that. Yeah. One of our earlier guests loves nothing more than cuddling up on the sofa and watching this. Brian,
the opposite.
What's your guilty pleasure then on the box?
My guilty pleasure, because I'm supposed to be a rock star, you know, and dancing's not really my thing, you know. My wife's just been heavily involved, as you probably know. My guilty pleasure is not Strictly, but this programme called Gotta Dance. And it's kids off the street who just express themselves, and that's the only way they can do it, and they are amazing. And the judges on this sort of reality TV show are just what you would dream judges ought to be. They're supportive, they're nice, they don't do this humiliation thing. Yeah. They get into it, and it makes me cry. I tell you, just to see the talent and the hopes and dreams of these people coming to fruition, it's amazing. These kids are incredible.
Well, I'll tell you what, right, there's a few guys out there who'll be tuning in now, but probably not for the right reason.
I see why it's your guilty pleasure now.
That was it. Actually, there's a little 6-year-old boy, actually, you have to see, who's got all the attitude, you know, like sort of Michael Jackson. It's unbelievable. You've got to see these guys. Yeah. But she's wonderful, too. Yeah, great.
They are.